Yeah, so after watching the Barbie movie, I have some thoughts. I originally was going to do this from the car, but the volume wasn't good, so I have to redo this. But originally, and from the trailers and the things and what I saw, I thought, oh man, this Barbie movie is going to kind of, do some meta jokes, maybe be self-aware, kind of have a fun time. You get to explore Barbie, the ideas here, as a person and the different types and everything like that. And with a point at the end that since Barbie supposed to represent all different types of women, that as a woman you can do these jobs, these things. You're capable, you're great and all that stuff. Yet be there and for Ken and everybody to be what they are, just to basically be together, be who you are, and in the end just like, yes, girl power rise. And in a sense of you are strong as well and all that. Like inspirational, I would say. And it could have been a fun family movie with, comedy with heart kind of thing. Instead, we got something else that gave the idea there, but the journey was ridiculous. Now, I'm going to say the things I did like. The set designs were incredible, especially in Barbie Land. I did think that was incredible how they did it. I thought it was really, really well done. The casting is spot on. Really good casting on every single person. Like every single one, I'm like, yeah. It was shot well. And I did have a few laughs in it. I'm not going to sit here and act like I didn't, I didn't laugh at some of the stuff. But now on to the review and the problems and the things that I had. Right off, I could say after sitting there through this, it came off... Oh, and before I go into what I think, here's something I noticed that people do as a narrative when something's a kid's movie or supposed to be a kid's movie or a product or a thing. If you are sitting there questioning me as a man and going, why are you talking about something that's made for little girls or something like that? And I've seen some people do videos about it. I had even had a conversation with some people did that to me on The Little Mermaid when I was like talking online with a few people about why I don't like what they did with Little Mermaid. And they're like, well, it's made for little girls. Okay, but then you have to look at the argument for yourself. Why are you on the internet defending it and saying it's for little girls and I shouldn't be able to talk about it? However, do you also say that to the men that are in favor of it, or the adults or the women or whoever you're going against? Do you feel that same way and say these things to the people that are actually agreeing with what they're doing? I bet you don't. So, if you're going to be fair or going to say something, be consistent. However, a movie's a movie, a show is a show. It is meant to be consumed. It doesn't matter if the person is older or younger. It matters about what they're talking about and the entertainment value and what it can propose. I like the movie Cat from Outer Space. I didn't see that movie until I was an adult. And I was like, oh, that was a pretty fun movie. See what I'm saying? So, as I was saying, this movie, it came off very angry and spite-filled. And it kind of did this thing where I at least got the message out of it that women are good, men are bad. Like, it went into She-Hulk territory for me. And there was something that they put in here, and I've noticed this has become a trope with these hyper intersexual, like, feminist kind of movies and things like that. Can we stop acting like every second of every day of every minute in every woman's life that there is a man who is consistently doing these, like, just violating them, their space, their time, they're just randomly grabbing them and things like that. That doesn't happen like that. And I am not saying that women do not have people that get in their space. As a man, I've had people do it to me. And I've also known it also happens. But also, too, it doesn't happen just because you're walking and and it just happens all the time. And I'm not saying you've never experienced it. I'm talking about the way these movies and shows do it. It literally makes it act like it's happening every second of your life. No, that's not how it works. So, and I just need to get that out because I just recently seen the trailer and they did that again and that annoyed me. And I'll get into that probably a little bit more later. But they open it, you know, and by the way, this is going to have a little bit of spoiler territory because I just want to talk about it this way. So if you haven't seen the Barbie movie, jump off now. But just by my opening statements, you probably have a good idea of at least where my head's at with this. But this is also something you did see in the original teaser trailer. But the 2001 Space Odyssey teaser, it kind of opens with that and Barbie standing there and stuff. And they really did a good job with the marketing because I did not see these things coming. And because of the culmination of everything, it's where it comes to. So give them credit for that. But they have these girls destroying their baby dolls pretty much in this message that a lot of feminists have as a sub-message. And I'm talking about not the equality ones, because no, the intersectional ones that really just want men to be a certain type of way. They were like doing it to kind of represent destroy motherhood and just buy the consumerism thing. And that's how I took that. I'm like, you're destroying these baby dolls because you are like motherhood. Buy, buy, buy. You know, what Barbie tells you. Because Barbie represents not motherhood, even though there is a Barbie with kids. But yeah, sure. So they live in Barbie land, which, like I said, looks beautiful. Looks amazing. But the way they represent Barbie land, I see it as fake feminist wet dream. All the jobs are done by Barbie. Now, admittedly, that's partially on brand, as they do have a lot of different jobs for a lot of different Barbies, and each Barbie represents something else. So I do say that that could have been just a thing that it is because Barbie does, but because of the messaging I get throughout the movie, they took that and now it's more of a I hate men thing versus and women can just do it all and men don't need to do nothing and we don't need a man kind of thing versus, oh, it's just something of what it is. Basically, the Kens are there to pretty much worship the Barbies, and they practically, that's what I'm just thinking of. The Kens are really there to do mostly nothing. The Barbies kind of run the society, do the society. They are half the time treating them like they're weak little children with no sense of urgency, and they're just practically, they contribute nothing to the world. They literally make no difference. Also, I do give them, they do have the Barbies, and basically, they kind of look down on the Kens for the most part, and they don't really treat them with much respect. And they don't look at them as equals or a part of society. It's more like a burden that they just have to deal with. The writers were definitely telling us about men and their thoughts on men. And it really was hammering loud and clear. They also had Barbie after running, doing stuff, and you got this lovesick Ken. And it's like she's just dragging him through the sand half the time. And she's just like, this guy. And they kind of put it in a very interesting place. But maybe it's because Ken doesn't get respect that he deserves. So something happens with Barbie where she gets emotional changes. And she gets flat feet. And they start talking about weight gain and stuff like that. And it's like, oh no. Weight gain and blah, 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 blah. So whatever happened, blah, 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 she meets up with crazy Barbie and stuff, and then they go to the real world to get her girl that plays with her to become happy once more. And, Ken is there tagging along. And the real world is practically feminist hell, where the men are mostly evil, rabid horn dogs for the most part. Now, I'm going to get to this part. So, Barbie and Ken are like skating or whatever, and they kind of are wearing some, you know, like lightly colored Barbie Ken stuff. And everyone, even the women, are like laughing at them and stuff, which makes no sense because I'm like, that's not a thing in 2023. Like, they're openly mocking them and stuff, and I'm like, that's not how a lot of people work. Even if you're wearing something weird, they may stare at you, but they're not going to sit there and be like, ha ha ha. And I'm not saying there's not a person who would do it, but like the people were doing it. Like they were all acting weird. And in the area that they were in, which I think if I remember correctly, was like the real world, looked like California on Venice Beach area. I'm like, that really makes no sense because it just looked like they were wearing Hawaiian shirts in bright colors. So yeah. And then while, you know, Ken and Barbie are doing it, this dude literally just runs up and just slaps Barbie's booty. And I'm like, in front of her boyfriend, or you could assume it's her boyfriend. And, you know, she turns around, she punches him. And I'm like, who does that in broad daylight and stuff on a regular basis? And I'm not saying people don't, but nobody did anything. Like, it was really weird. I'm like, no, we don't live in a time where a woman just walks down the street and then dudes just slap their butts and stuff. This isn't like the freaking 70s. You know, because like if you go back and watch Anchorman, like he did that and love that fanny. Like, no, this is 2023. Like, no, you're pushing home that men are all terrible. And it doesn't even make sense because, like, why would a guy do that in front of another dude? Like, there's a lot of things that go on with that a lot of men would not cross that line. But it was really weird, and they also made a, like, at that point and laugh. So then, anyway, but in that aspect, I will say balance would have been appreciated between the men and the women and things like that. That would have gone a long way for me, but it didn't. And I also think it would have been better if they would have done innocence versus reality. Like, it would have been great, kind of like a child growing up and starting to learn about how the world really works. More like a metaphor to it, like Barbie's innocence contrasting to reality, and there's a nuance and a beauty to it, but at the same time, there's a little bit of a naivete to it. But, you know, and they could have did it and then made a metaphor about a child becoming a grown-up, but, you know, what do I know? So, stuff's going on. You find out that the mom is on, you know, her femme stuff, and she's having a bunch of issue, and because Ken gets a modicum of respect from people because they treat him like a normal human being and not like some just wet noodle that just happens to be there that's always on her leg, trying to hump her leg. So Kim just goes crazy and falls in love with the patriarchy because, you know, like I said, he gets regular respect. Ken goes back, they go back to Barbie Land, the mom and all this other stuff because the mom is having an existential crisis. Barbie returns in one day and Ken has the patriarchy down. Like, it's ruling everything, and they subjugate the Barbies, which is weird because it's like, how did the Nada men or Kens beat the Barbies who do everything? And it was very inconsistent. And like in a day, I'm like, the Barbies do everything. The Kens literally go with their beach off and stuff like that. Like, they're not doing anything. So they wouldn't have the gumption and the power to do it. It was really weird and kind of like a pivot. And just a sidebar, our society is not a patriarchy by definition versus what they mean by patriarchy. I've had people try to tell me I don't know what a patriarchy is because I'm like, you don't live in a patriarchy. It can be headed by men, but usually it's supposed to be a dynamic that men and then the male line goes down, and there's some other factors to it, same as a matriarchy. I was like, but when these people are good at the patriarchy, what you saw there with what the Kens were doing, that's the patriarchy you mean. Because if you're saying you live in that kind of patriarchy, the Barbies can't talk or nothing, and you act like you're held down. And I've seen too many examples of where, like, someone will mention, like, Madam C.A. Walker, they'll be like, what man did she ask to be able to do that? And I'm like, that's not how the society worked even then. So, yeah. This version is what they mean when they say patriarchy, not the regular version. Men subjugate women and everything kind of thing, and that's not really how it works. But back to the story at hand, this woke style of storytelling is bad as well, because it's like with their lives, you can't be unstoppable, run the world, girl boss, say everything, we do this the best, we are the ones, but then turn around and also be a victim and held down by what you perceive as toxic masculinity. But being that strong, you all wouldn't have fallen so fast. Like, it's like they were trying to be the Superman, but then Batman punched him with his regular hand and knocked him out, not with kryptonite. And that's the thing about this storytelling. It's like you're trying to be the victim and the hero at the same time. And no, you have to pick your lane. So anyway, Barbie, found her super feminist powers and whatever. And Ken and all of them are stupid. And Barbie just basically uses their idiocy to, like, get the Kens to fight. Which eventually they flip it, do it, whatever, and then they give up. And you would think that after Barbie seeing what was going on and this journey she's learned and all that stuff, she would come to realize that the best way to move forward is together and equal. Kind of showing off our differences, but saying, hey, we totally rock, women rock, men rock. Let's move forward from the stuff that we were doing before, from the crap that we were doing before, because it wasn't working. The Barbies doing everything, the Kens are just kind of being around. Maybe the Kens can do stuff and, move forward as a society. But instead, nope. They just do whatever. They go right back. Man is a misogynist and motherhood F you. It just felt bitter. Men can't have the power only, and women shouldn't have the power only to run and stuff. But in the end, the Kens go back to being a bunch of docile Luddites. So the way I see it is that everything just went back to normal, but Barbie, like, changed, but everything else didn't. And in the end, it's really annoying. And I'm going to say that my rating is this movie is a sinking ship. I'm also agitated because of the fact that the women, this is a Barbie movie made for, just should be for everyone. But little kids cannot watch this movie. Or you're going to have some explaining to do because of what they did, how they did it, and everything. So that really was a thing that turned me off. Like, there are a lot of the jokes and stuff were not made for kids. And I don't even think were made for, like, 13-year-olds, like, per se. And yes, I know they have experiences, but the way this was going, it's really made for older kids and adults. And for a Barbie thing that should be about everyone, it's not stuff like Transformers where it's like everyone can kind of go in. It's just a little bit more. They really focus on the adult themes to the point where it's pushing the envelope. So like I said, to me, this was a sinking ship. I'm very disappointed in this movie because it could have been something really great and family fun and everything. Good job on them tricking everyone. And it's a mega success right now. I'm waiting to see what happens in the following weeks as people learn about what this movie is. Hey, there are people who said they loved it either way. I guess so. But for me, I'm sick and tired of the toxicity and the fake toxic masculinity BS when really it's just toxic people. But because of this, I'm going to now start labeling this as misandry and toxic femininity. Since people want to always do this down with the patriarchy stuff, and we're not in the patriarchy that you're talking about, because trust me, you would know the difference. You wouldn't be able to say you are and against it, but that's just me. Like I said, for the stuff I did, I give it the credit of it. There was potential there, but they screwed it up. Geek Protagonist, you stay safe, you stay healthy, stay real. See ya.